Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I think people are going to continue arriving, so I'll try to pay attention to the waiting room. John, can you hear me okay? Okay, good. Just checking to make sure. I'm super excited to be here. I can't even tell you. Literally 12 minutes ago, the last piece of artwork went up on the wall. So I tried to upload the presentation to the website, but it wasn't cooperating. But by Monday, the video from this will be appearing on our website and on our YouTube channel, as well as the presentation itself. So you can download the presentation. It acts as our press release for the show. But I'm super excited to have you here. You are joining me from inside of my studio here at Proyectos Residencia y Proyectos Proyecto Galeria MX. And we're in Mexico City. We are in the heart of Mexico City. I am right on the edge of El Centro. On this side is Colonia Juarez. And if I throw myself just a little bit to the other side, I'll be in El Centro. We can walk anywhere from here into the heart of the city, over to Condesa, Roma, all the different places. It's a great place to live because it's easy to get around as long as you don't have a car. Don't have a car in this area. There's just way too much traffic. Tonight I decided that after the Existimos opened, the virtual opening, and I had my laptop and I was trying to control 3 different devices and give you camera angles and everything, I have prepared this with images of the gallery all set up and everything, so that we could see the artwork clearly and spend more time talking to the artists who have come this evening, and you'll have the opportunity to ask questions about the show as well. So I do ask that during the presentation, if you could keep yourself muted. If you wait about 20 minutes into the presentation, I will open the microphones and everybody can start asking questions as well. So let's go ahead and get started. And we get it started. All right, so this is the inside of the gallery today. And the dog comes with every show. We don't charge admission to the dog or anyone to pet the dog. The dog just is here all the time. His name is Cuckoo. He really likes chest rubs, and he'll eat any food that you give him, as can be seen by the girth of my doggy here. I wanted to let you know that this is also an artist residency. So since the pandemic started a year ago, we went virtual, and we have a virtual program online, which we have 16 artists participating in right now. And we do weekly activities that include sort of gossip sessions. We do group critiques, solo critiques. We have visiting artists. We do curator talks. That is happening every Thursday evening. I will be inviting different artists from the Fotographia show to participate in that as well. But on Thursday nights we do that. And then we have our Art Lab project, which is a 10-week project ending in a curated show, either in the gallery or on Artsy or both, depending on what's happening at the time. So we are currently in the 7th week of our 10-week process, and we'll be launching a new group in June. So if you're interested in participating in that, the information will be going up on the website in more detail soon, but you can go into the website and see all the information about the activities, as well as a sample video from each one of the, it's a good thing I have wine here. We'll leave the water till later. So there are sample videos of all the activities that we do inside of the website as well. So you just go into the residency area, virtual residency, and look on the subscribe page, and you'll see all the different activities and everything. Upcoming, we have our International Art Fair here in Mexico City, which is Zona Maco, Materiales, Salon Acme, and about 30 other art fairs that go on at the same time. It's a really big week. It usually happens the first week of February, obviously with the pandemic. That got pushed to the end of April, the beginning of May, and we have all hopes that everything will go swimmingly. That we'll be doing a exhibition here, a collective exhibition of the artists in residency an artist that we've been working with for the last 2 years. So I'm super excited about that show. We have the Art in the Time of Corona, which is with our partner gallery, Dab Art in Los Angeles. It's a project that they started last year at this time. You can see the show on the Dab Art page, which I'll show you before we end this evening. Wow, it's really distracting to have all the admit alerts coming at me at the same time. So I'm sorry, I keep losing my frame of reference. Art in the Time of Corona will run through mid-May through mid-June, and then we have Manifesto, which is our queer show. This year, I'm super excited about the Manifesto show because I'm really interested in what the future of queer is in the opinion of the community. So the artists who are accepted into the show will submit a 250-word manifesto on the future of queer. And our definitions of queer are quite broad, and you can read about that on the front of our page. So that takes us all the way through July. We have a curatorial residency in August, and then there's so many things coming September and beyond. So keep checking back with us on that. Our jurors for the show, Luis Flores Reyes, is also one of our photographers, and he is a marketing person who helps us out with our marketing. Cameron Hurtis, who is in Ventura, California, and I have worked with him. We had studios in the H Gallery space in Ventura, California, when I lived there before. So great guy, wonderful photographer. And Enrique Ibarra Pineda. Also, he is a photographer, artist, and he also works at Museo Humax as a curator. So I'm thrilled to have them all as jurors. We received about 1,400 images. That's not 1,400 artists, that's 1,400 images. Each artist who applied had 5 images, and they could submit an extra group of images, but we also did an open call here in Mexico because part of my mission here is to not only give exposure to artists internationally in Mexico City, but to connect Mexican artists with international artists and galleries also. So about 30 to 40% of all of our shows are artists who are local to Ciudad de Mexico or within Mexico. And I'm super proud of that. And we have some really fantastic artists from Mexico in our show tonight, and I can't wait to show you that. So our sponsor, Dab Art, thank you so much for sponsoring us. Dab Art helps us by allowing us to use the call for entry system as well as hosting our shows on Artsy, which gives us a fantastic platform to expose the queer community voices that we work with. So I am so thrilled to have this relationship with Jessica Torres at Dab Art, and thank you so much for doing this. I should also mention that right now there is a photography call on call for entry through Dab Art, and I'm sure you could find that link within their website, dabart.me, or contact on the email at their website, and we'll be happy to send that back to you as well. So another opportunity. And you can actually see here on their page, Justin Owensby, one of our photographers in our show, is actually participating in a show with Dab Art right now too. So super exciting. Lots of crossovers. Okay, so, and I am Michael Swank, your curator. I'm also an artist, and my page is The Queer Alchemist, and you can check out what I'm doing there. Super excited about my projects. Always trying to find more time to complete them. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. I don't see Edgar in the crowd here. One of our featured photographers. In this show, we have about 20 photographers, and then we did 4 breakout shows that are solo exhibitions on Artsy. So our featured photographers have 3 to 4 pieces here in the gallery, and then have a solo show on Artsy, which you could check out. So Edgar Takoyaki is one of our photographers. We actually completed a show with him here in the gallery last month, and there's a fantastic interview with Edgar on our YouTube channel. So if you're interested in knowing more about his work, please go to the YouTube channel and check it out. Edgar travels to Tokyo and documents the Chicano culture, the interpretation of the Chicano culture within the Japanese culture. So it's a very interesting theme and provides lots of very interesting material. And I want to mention, as I had mentioned to Edgar, that in the era of the previous president, I can't remember what his name was, that guy, orange, big, like a floating thing that's too heavy to float. He deported a lot of Chicanos from Los Angeles, and we have right behind us Little LA, where a lot of the deportees are living in Tabacalera zone, and they all work at the call center because they speak perfect English. So if you ever call, what is it, Comcast cable, it's very likely that you're being hooked up over here, right here in Mexico City. So just want to tie all these historical and important cultural references together for you. Oona Nelson. Oona is one of our residents at the Proyectos Residencia, on our virtual residency, and she's been with us for about 4 months now, and is participating in our art lab project. I love Oona's work. It's very, very exciting. I like that she literally creates the scenes that she works with, and that her work is dark, but also has a sense of humor. I actually see, Oona, you are on here, so I'm going to ask you to unmute. And if you don't mind, if you could tell us a little bit about your work. Is she there?
Yes. I'm very interested in a period of history that is connected to Vanitas paintings and Memento Mori, sort of the colonial parallel. So this is an offshoot of that, with this feeling of, isolation. And I also like working, photographing animals, and kind of like a little bit the art or the consumer culture that we have. So it's kind of poking fun at that and where we are today environmentally. So, and greed and where that puts us today. So I see the parallels with that. And so that's where what these kind of works are subtly about. And then they're just sort of simple. And I see the monkey as kind of a trickster, but also a metaphor for humanity as well.
And Oona, these are live animals, right?
Most of them. I'm a vegetarian, and I'm very I love animals. So, but I have taken a few pictures of dead animals that I've found on the side of the road, and then also in my backyard and stuff. But I have a handler that brings in live animals to my studio.
And where is your studio located?
It's in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's in Crockett, but in the Bay Area. And so I've been working here for a number of years, since probably in this studio since like 20.
Awesome. And Anna has a profile on our website, and soon we'll have an interview with Anna on our YouTube channel as well to hear more about Anna's work. Thank you very much, Anna. Oona. Gosh, I'm looking at the name Anna, and I'm supposed to be saying the word Oona, the name Oona. Okay, our next photographer is Nelson Morales. Nelson is a photographer in Oaxaca, the southern part of Mexico. And his subject matter he works with is related to the Mush culture, which is a third gender within the Mexican culture. And he was a part of our Existimo show with a few pieces recently, but also he had been posting on his Instagram these new pieces where he's doing interventions on top of them, and I couldn't resist but to invite him. He's a really amazing and special photographer, and I love the rawness of his work. It reminds me very much of like sort of the New York City street photography of the 70s and 80s, but interpreted through kind of a different lens. So there's a very raw quality to his artwork, and I find that every time I go to his Instagram, that he has something new that he's working on. So I appreciate it a lot. We also have an interview with Nelson Morales on our YouTube channel. It is in Spanish, but you can use the subtitles as well. He was interviewed by Mario Paredes of Union Galleria here in Mexico City, which I highly recommend. There's also a curator talk with us for one of our Kiki nights. But Nelson's work is very dynamic, and I just like the playfulness of it, but I like that the sexuality is very open within his work. So he does not edit himself necessarily, and I find that the spirit of his work, you know, it's not studio photography that's clean and you know, extremely well lit and like just like perfect in every way and would go directly into a fashion mag. But it does remind me very much of our, you know, sort of our queer punk late 80s, early 90s work that I grew up with. So Adam David Bencomo, is Adam here? Oh, I don't see him. Oh, I so want to. He was supposed to be our visiting artist, and he had a health issue, and he'll be our visiting artist on Monday night for our Kiki. We're doing it the last time on Monday night this next week. If you want to attend, just let me know. Send me a private message. I'll be happy to have you attend. Adam's work. Adam is a non-binary trans male, and he doesn't fit the stereotypical mold of like the perfect gay man. So his work really is addressing his coming to terms with his own body image and the community that he has adopted, the bear community. And when I saw his work, I smiled immediately. And I think any work that can elicit a joyous response at this time in history gets my vote. So, and he's a great photographer with a lot of spunk and energy. So I'm looking forward to meeting him on Monday evening at 7 p.m. So Stefan Hagen, is Stefan?
Hello. Yes.
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 Where are? Oh, there you are.
Oh,
Hi.
yeah. Hi.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good to see you. Where are you coming to us from?
I'm coming from New York.
New York.
Lower East Side.
Lower East Side. Well, I hope you're doing well over there.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Salute to you.
So this is not quite as happy as the previous. So these two images. So this is a diptych, and the other one you're showing. These are collaboration with the two dancers who practice what is called Buto. And they came out and we did photography in the desert and the salt flats there near Wendover. And then I just photographed as I photographed with long exposures, and then exhibition came up and I wanted to do something else with it. So these are combined then both with these images where I take a lens designed for medium format, used large format film. And so basically this futility of trying to capture all time and space. It's like the whole sunset of 4 hours. And it worked very well, sort of this struggle. I mean, you have to see that the Donner Party came through here, what we're seeing here on the left side. The Donner Party struggled through the mud right there on this place. And the other image is, I mean, they're both in the salt flats, and that's next to Wendover where the Enola Gay was stationed. So there's a lot of, you know, heavy history in a way there. And so there is these two dancers, they're barefoot on this really rough, harsh salt flats. So that's really worked great. And
I really enjoyed the work, and I think I think it really spoke to me about the time that we're living in. There's a sense that, you know, the closing of the lens, but the blurriness of it, and the sort of, you know, there's no time, but there's so much time. And so when I saw this work, I was just like, really taken back by it. And I have to say, your entire portfolio is beautiful work, absolutely gorgeous work. I was like, oh man, we have to talk to you. I want to learn more about your work, do an interview for the YouTube channel, and talk to you about the potential of doing something in the future as well, because it's just gorgeous, gorgeous work.
We should talk anyway, since I'm running a residency program as well. I don't know whether you saw this then. Yes, the Montella.
No, I didn't. I'll be happy to talk to you.
Oh, yes.
Thank you very much for attending. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Our next artist is Robert. Robert, I see that you're on. Would you like to unmute yourself?
There. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, welcome. Where are you coming from?
Alabama.
Alabama. All right. Well, welcome. I have
Thank
to
you.
ask you, your work, tell me about the process of your work and how you're coming up with your ideas, because this cracked me up, and I want you guys to look at this very closely, and some details will become clear to you as you look at the main figure. So, but Robert, please tell us more about your work.
Well, I'm glad that you said that it made you laugh, because it does make me laugh as well. I mean, I think it's very serious. Most of my work, I deal with myself or close friends or my family. And I always wanted to do the Emperor's New Clothes, because it's about lying and deceit. I just like the whole story, but yet it's a children's story. But I guess when I came up, I mean, I make all my props, I make all my clothes. Those curtains I hand painted and sewed and made. So I like the process. The process takes me sometimes months to make, to make all this stuff. And it gives me time to really think and slow down. So I do put meaning like in almost every little thing. I love my shoes. It's the first time I've ever made shoes. So I had fun making those shoes and the wigs and all that kind of stuff too.
Yes, I mean, the level of detail and many of your pieces in your portfolio is quite beautiful. I could imagine this as a fashion ad or in a fashion spread. And I looked at this, and it took me a little bit of time to put it all together. And then I was like, oh, I'm like, this is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, because I toured with that because I wanted him to have clothes on, but yet he's supposed to be nude. So I wanted to kind of have a sheer thing. So I didn't know how that was going to come across, but yeah.
I actually think it adds a layer of humor and interest to it, because the theme has been done so many times in so many different ways, and there's good, bad, and ugly about that. But it just added a point of interest to it, because I'd imagine this 70-plus-year-old elderly woman purchases this and hangs it in her home, and then her children come to visit her, and they're like, well, Mom.
Exactly. Yes.
I think you might have missed a few details here, but it's a beautiful, beautiful portrait, and an appropriate response to the time as well. Are you working during the pandemic, or have you been able to continue working? Or
yeah, well, when it first started, we were shut down, but now in Alabama, it's pretty safe, and we have a way to work, and so we have plenty of space in the studio. So we've been back to work pretty much full time. Okay,
awesome. I noticed that Adam has popped on here. So Adam, I'm going to go back to you. I had already presented your work. If you could do me a favor and turn on your camera and your microphone.
Sure, I'm right here.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you at tonight?
So I'm here in Baltimore, Maryland, here on the East Coast, just relaxing on a nice Friday night after teaching all day. So it's good.
Where do you teach?
So I teach at two schools. I teach at the Baltimore School of the Arts, and I teach a class called Film and Other Places. And then at MICA, Maryland Institute College of Art as well. And I teach in the first year experience.
Awesome. And can you tell us about this series Frolicking and what it's about for you, and how this comes together? And I mean, I have to tell you, David, the first time I saw the work, the first time I saw your work, I was like, oh my God, it just made me smile so big, and it just gave me such a positive, and it hasn't changed. Every time I look at it, I want to beam. So I'm so happy to have it in the gallery. I actually I put you in a prominent space so that I'd make sure that I would see your work every day. So.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, so I guess originally this work kind of stemmed from another body of work that I call My Bearish Life, which is kind of a documentation of my life interacting on the outside and then within, and then my journeys even deeper into the bear community, which of the subculture of the queer communities. And then of course, out of it came this idea of like body radical acceptance for me specifically. And it's not even just necessarily, oh, like fat is beautiful. It's just also the part of it is that all bodies are valid, and everyone has whatever body you are given, it is meant to be like a happy place because it's your body and your body is where you are. So I just started trying to come up with these different scenarios where you don't typically see people of my size like kind of doing things and like enjoying themselves. And I kind of wanted it to kind of be very, very raw, but also fun, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I love the work. I mean, it's beautiful. Really, at a time when there's so many things to focus on that are negative, I love the positivity of it. So, so it's a good balance to the show because we have a lot of, we have a lot of work that fits into the themes of the last year. So there could be some sadness and darkness to it, but also humor and life. So I really appreciate the work a lot. So.
Yeah, I will say that due to a lot of things being closed down, it has offered me a lot of opportunity to probably take chances in spaces that I normally wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to. So, because of course, nudity is still taboo, and especially if you're doing it in a semi-public space, you are definitely risking being seen,
Of course, right. Actually, I was thinking about the ideal because I've seen nudity on the streets so many times here in Mexico City, and I wonder if it's legal. Like, it might be. It's a pretty progressive city, so. But it'd be very interesting to have you come and do a project here, assuming it's legal, because there'd be no way that you could get away with it. There are just way too many police, but also there's just too many people. So.
Yeah,
it would require some skill for sure. And we'll see you on Monday night for our Kiki at 7 p.m.
Yes, I will be there.
Great. I can't wait to talk to you more about it. Thank you.
Of course.
All right. We were. Joshua, I believe I saw that you were here. Did I see? Thought I'd seen him here. Well, anyway, Joshua Duttweiler. So anyway, there's a quality of magic about the work that he has. And there's this ideal memory and for me, it's a queer memory. It's this ideal of like sexuality and eroticism that is sort of masked and muted, and reminds me again very much of like kind of when the culture was a little bit more closeted about things and people didn't want to be in photographs, but also sort of just hearkening to a different time, memories, and just a beautiful composition and work with color. So I thought Josh he was here. I know he was. All right, Joanne Chaus, by any chance? No. I love this work in terms of the isolation and the way that she plays with light. And if you go and look at her work, she had done a portrait of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she's done many portraits, and they all have this sort of stark quality to them, the simplicity of light and a barrenness to it that sort of speaks to kind of, it feels very New England to me whenever I look at these compositions of hers, and I like the attitude of it. Please take an opportunity to look at her portfolio. This is Manuel Parra. He is located in the state of Mexico, right outside of the city border here. And he had submitted through one of our open convocatorias And his work is really, it's very different for this show because it's not pure photography. He actually embellishes the work with needlework. So this is all hand-sewn details on the work. And on the left, you can't really tell from the photo, the scale is quite large. But also when I opened it up yesterday to hang it, I was just so pleased with it. There's this depth within all the needlework and things, and it just adds a lot to it. And there's some beautiful work in his Instagram. I highly encourage you to check him out. And I'm hoping that he'll work with us this summer for our the Future of Queer Manifesto show as well. Oh, this is where we transition from the downstairs level to the upstairs level. And upstairs, the upstairs area, the loft area above the gallery is sort of a feature space and a project space that we use with artists, but also you'll see that there's a large dinner table. One of the things that I love doing is entertaining curators, artists, mixed groups of people, introducing them and trying to make connections within the community. So we host a lot of meals, and during the pandemic, particularly with the last show, we weren't able to really be open most of the time. In a public sense, we could only take a private appointment. So I scheduled all these lunches and dinners with different people and collectors to, get the word out about the artwork and sell some work and make connections between people who could potentially work with one another. So this is my sort of special space for that. But also it's a place where we would host artists to work on projects and produce work for the specific space as well. So this is Marcie Brewer. I think it's very clear in this that this just feels like a 2020 image, even though it was done in 2010. So there's just something about the restriction of the face that feels, I don't know, a little familiar and seems like a beautiful way to represent the time that we live in. So it really appealed to the jurors and myself. So Mark Newman. Mark, are you here? Okay, Mark's not here. This is a series of work that he works on with these smaller figures and these grand schemes. And again, it's just about the isolation and the beauty of the composition and this ideal of like sleepwalking off of a cliff, and it feels so appropriate to our quarantine life. So, all right, Justin Owensby, are you here? Oh, I so want to talk to Justin. His work, he has two pieces in our show, and both of them are, highly produced images that have a great sense of humor and feel very like, they have just like the spirit of LA to them. There's this cinematic quality to them and just really dramatic and fun images to look at. So clearly, one of the themes that came out of the show was about laughter and just trying to enjoy life, and the things that are living on the walls in the gallery are part of that. So you can't you can't do a show without really about photography right now and what's happening in photography without doing something that represents protest and the outrage in the United States about all the various different things to be outraged about. Sadaf, not here, okay. So I like this composition, obviously representation of the US flag, but in a very broken and damaged form. So felt like it was a beautiful image and wanted to include it in the show. Hal Zhang, again, it's this ideal of isolation that keeps coming out in this emptiness, all these spaces that are closed and all the various different things that are missing from life right now. So this would have been, could have been a wedding or I don't know, an accountant's conference, but it's a beautiful, simple composition of isolation. Nancy Oliveri, are you here? No, she's not. She has beautiful work, and I highly encourage you to follow her Instagram. Really gorgeous work. I like this quality of decay that's within the work. It reminds me somewhat of the work that one of our artists, Oona, does as well. I would be surprised if there weren't some sort of connection here. But the color balance and the richness of it is really quite incredible, and just brings joy to me. And for some reason, also makes me slightly hungry, even though it's decaying. I don't know why. Cindy, are you here? Cindy, I like the isolation within this work. These are self-portraits, and I find that, well, I love self-portraits in general, just because I think they're a challenge that most of us as artists take on at some point. But when you're living in isolation, a self-portrait takes on a new meaning in 2020, so in 2021. So I just enjoyed the emotional quality of these images and the abstraction of the human form. All right, so those are all the artists. I would like to, well, this video will appear on our YouTube channel in the next week, and also within our website as well. And with this slide presentation included in it, if you'd like to download it for yourself. I'm going to open the floor up for questions if anybody wants to ask questions of myself or any of the artists who are in attendance right now. Dun, dun. I know. It's a moment where you're thinking, I had a question, I was going to ask it.
Is it?
Yes.
Can you unmute it? It's unmuted. Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Denise, are you speaking?
Great. Hi, great. I'd like to go back to Oona and how she identifies her subjects and what she would like to do going forward.
Well, that's a hard question. Going forward, I'm just like a steamroller. I'm kind of doing a lot of different projects at the moment. And I have, yeah, I'm just inspired. I look at a lot of art history and look at contemporary art as well. And I'm just sort of a steamroller in terms of experimenting. Not everything makes it to the public eye. I'm also doing kind of something a little bit unpopular with some people, which is burning paintings and burning books and photographing that, and also having the objects. So my next project is to write about that. I think it needs a little bit of context. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm kind of exploring and inspired, and also the residency that I'm in currently has just been amazing. So I don't really have an answer. That's the best I can do.
Oh, I saw on your Instagram that you were setting fires in it looked like your backyard. What was that about?
Not my backyard, but yes.
That video, I reposted your video, and that has been the most popular video that I've had in the last year.
Oh,
Something
really?
about things on fire.
Yeah, it's kind of a taboo thing. I've been doing a lot of reading about burning books and burning, burning paintings and things. There's been some tragic things in history where that's occurred, but it's also kind of for me, it's a mirror of our time. And it's also kind of like the decline of Western civilization. So I've been working on these projects, and yeah, it's kind of like, it's not as fun as you think, but actually the last burn I did was really fun because my friend Jerry was there and helped me. I burned it in his backyard, and it's kind of it was like, actually it was beautiful landscape. It was like, the bridge is in the background and the water, and then I'm sort of just, yeah. So night burns, taking pictures.
Well, and then I think, was it like last week or the week before, you had an alligator in your studio?
Yes, I built a huge pond. Well, not huge, but huge for me. It was like a 8-foot by 12-foot pond. And then my friend Anna and I with Ort Project are We brought in an alligator. There's a animal guy in the area who is kind of like, he's my like animal pimp. he's like, he's like, I did the monkey shoot, and then he's like, I got an alligator. And then, you start thinking. So I basically built with my friend Oona a oil spill, like a fake oil spill, and she sort of blinged it out with a bunch of rhinestone props and things with dead animals. And so it's sort of a take on consumerism and the ecology, and yeah, it's kind of exciting. It was a little bit like online dating though. He brought the alligator. It was supposed to be a 5-foot alligator, and it was a 4-foot alligator.
Right.
But it still worked out.
And it was an ALL alligator, as we used to call it in the gay community way back, because size was always different when it arrived at your door.
Yeah.
This piece, by the way, has arrived. It is on the wall. We had a minor issue with it, so and I'm super happy too, because Oona agreed to allow us to produce these at a larger scale. In the photo back here, you don't see the middle deer piece that's in there, but you get a sense of the scale. It's 36 by 36. So thank you for agreeing to work with us on that. I'm just super happy with how the scale has changed the work. We printed it at 12 by 12 in 14 by 14 frames, and it worked really well, but I was like, I don't know, this is a photo exhibit, this could be like, the piece, people are, I have these like weird intentions for some sort of Instagram moment for people. I don't know why. Any more questions from the audience? Don't be shy. I'm going to put Jessica on the spot. Jessica, can you come on?
I think I'm there now.
Okay, you are. Yeah, welcome. Okay. Hi, how are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Jessica is the director, curator, owner, operator, founder of Dab Art Co. in Los Angeles. I met Jessica 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. I don't know. Time
might be longer. I can't remember.
Longer. Yeah, I came to rent a studio from you at H Gallery. And at the time, I was teaching design at a high school up in Ojai, California, living in a trailer and riding a 3-wheel motorcycle with my white Maltese dog attached to my front with pink goggles on her. I don't think you knew what entered your life at that moment. But Jessica is our sponsor for Artsy and our calls for entry. So Jessica, can you tell us about the projects that you're doing right now at Dab Art? I know you have a lot going on.
We have, yeah, I was gonna say, which one would you like to know about?
Well, there's LA, there's Ventura, there's Austin coming up.
Right.
You have projects here, so lots to.
Yeah, so we have, I mean, it's hustling and bustling, and it's sort of nonstop all the time. I mean, the Corona project is the huge project. That's the big undertaking. It's a 3-year project at this point. That's just sort of at the end of December, we essentially just decided to extend it. We're like, this isn't going away. It obviously affects all kinds of people, artists, individuals across the board. This is not going away. So we went ahead and decided it was going to be ongoing. We extended it. The first year, or volume 1, as we're referring to it, that book is coming out at the end of the month. The short film we're working on should be done in May, right around the same time that we want to have our multi-city physical exhibitions. It'll be viewable sort of, well, indefinitely, I guess. It's just going to be online. We've sold quite a bit of work out of that. I think there's a high demand for COVID work, whether it's literal, whether it's specifically politically related. I don't know that matters as much as people are just hyper tuned into this, and they're really following it, and they're taking I don't know, they're jumping on the work that's being made now. I think it's an important body of work, no matter what discipline or medium you're working in. That, like I said, the demand is there for COVID work, so it's exciting to be a part of it. I'm also trying to do other shows as well, just because I don't want to, not only do I not want to focus on that all the time, but there still is other art happening, and it's nice to just have a break. So we have what we are referring to as a Western show, Western inspired contemporary work that's happening in Ventura. I have a solo show in downtown LA right now that has to do with consumerism and like fast fashion. So, you know, that all that discarded, when clothes are done being sold at H&M, they have to go somewhere, right? So they tend to be distributed all over the world. And, you know, Chile is one of those places. An artist from there has seen that over the years. And so the show in downtown LA is all 3D sculptures, weavings, 2D artwork, and it's all made out of discarded clothing. It's pretty interesting and colorful and just really pretty, actually, considering
It's really
what the
beautiful. I
materials
mean, it's literally layered
Mm-hmm.
with earth, it looks like,
Mm-hmm.
and fabrics, and you know, and it's just
Yeah.
all the way all the layers come together. And of course, I mean, I'm obsessed with the ideal of materials for artwork that are recycled. So
Yeah, those are, that one's called core sample, the one you're talking about with the soil, and then it has like a little piece of grass on it. And that one of the things that they do is they bury those clothes in landfills. And it's just like, I mean, what are you supposed to do? You know, they're taking up space, and literal cities are built on top of these landfills. It's crazy. So it's just more about bringing awareness, but also producing something that is fairly beautiful out of it. So it's a neat show. I like it a lot, actually. It's a fun show to have in that space. Obviously working with you.
You have a photo call coming up too,
We have a
right?
photo call. Yeah, the Sunken Place is a photo call. It's a little dark. Everything I reference tends to be sort of pop culture related. It's just my age, I think, and the things that I love. And the Sunken Place was taken from that movie Get Out, where they brought him down, and it was just sort of that separation from, you know, his physical state and his mental state. And I wanted to expand on that. I thought it was pertinent for the time. And also, and photographs can be translated so many different ways. And I just, so it's more about a mental state. And that'll be happening after the Corona show in downtown LA. We have an amazing juror for that. He's so fun. He does all the Marvel movies, and he's just a really good time, to be honest. He's just a really good time. And his background in cinematography, I'm going for a more cinematic, I think, overall look, and that'll work with him as a juror as well. But yeah, then working with you, we have your shows, you know, obviously. Everything is online, by the way, on Dabart and Artsy. So if you go there, you can see those shows. We're going to throw those installation photos up as soon as we can, but those are all ready to go. Yeah, no, it's always a lot going on. I do miss sleep. I love art, but I miss sleep. So
I just realized I wanted to, this is our catalog from the queer show, which is just getting rave reviews from the various artists. So, but it's a gorgeous little book. This is our queer art show from last year. This is David Jester on the cover here, one of his paintings, Palm Springs painter. Love his work. And these are also available as well, but you do produce a lot of I almost said like artifacts or anthropological material books, because I love it, because people don't produce books anymore. You know,
I think that there's a thing, you know, we've digitized all media now. Everything's online, whether it's movies, whether it's books, whether it's art, everything is digitized. And so when you have artists, they're obviously making physical pieces. I mean, we have artists that are making film, those are digitized, and, you know, and on some level. But I think there's something to be said about that tangible thing, like the archival thing about having books. They can, and they can grow in libraries. And depending on what side of the fence you're on, you may start to see some of those books disappear. And whether you agree with it or not, it's that thing where there's going to come a point where digitized materials aren't going to be accessible. And it's nice to have something that's very physical. And I thought that was very important I mean, a long time ago I started doing it. I think artists like it. They like to have it in their libraries. They like to have it to show off. But at the same time, it was sort of a little bit, it was a little bit selfish. I wanted a record of my own work, over the years, and the artists I've worked with too. So, but it is starting to become even more important, I think, with the digitization of media and some of the censorship that you see is happening. And I thought, man, it makes even more sense to have these physical copies. So I'm really excited that we do that.
Yeah, you just have to keep them away from Oona because she's a book partner. So trash talking you, Oona. Well, I really appreciate your attending. Does anybody else have any questions this evening?
I actually did want to ask Adam a question. The work, Michael and I talked about your work when it first came across. I think I grabbed your image, was one of the first images I grabbed as a marker for the show on the website and stuff like that. It was just fun. And I wanted to ask, I understand the point. I understand the you've talked about why you wanted to make these and bodies being valid. But I want to talk about the process. Was it fun? Did you have a good time? What were you doing? How did you get these shots? Like, I love process. Can you walk me through how you got this? What was your frame of mind? I hope you had fun. It feels like humor is being conveyed, so I hope it is.
Oh my gosh. Actually, this is one of the most fun projects I've done. Just because of the fact that, like, I mean, I've never been on a set of like being a model or anything, but as a photographer, I've given people direction, do these weird contortions, do whatever, jump maybe, do something different. And so it was kind of almost like doing both positions at once. I should jump. Okay, I'll jump.
Mm-hmm.
And like specifically in this one, I was in Houston actually, I think this photo was taken a year ago today or tomorrow. It's kind of crazy to think about it. Because this was the last photo that I did at a photo conference. And I was just kind of thinking about the issues of like that being a chubby person sometimes, like you have the health issues, like with sleep apnea, which is something that I deal with.
Yeah, because you have that machine and the hose, and then
yeah, but also at the same time, it's something that I was just like, I want to find some way to kind of like enjoy it. So in that case, that's kind of what came from this photo specifically. But all of the images that I'm coming around, I mean, most of them are all about just trying to find at least some form of fun within the image itself, because I really enjoy trying to take these risks too. The most recent images that I've added to the series, which has been only in the last couple weeks, was I went to a hotel and I was riding on a luggage cart, which was really fun. And then I was also inside of an elevator that was like overlooking an atrium, which was also really fun to do. So.
Well, I think what I noticed was to me, these felt as though you were actually in motion, right? You're not digitally, like, you're not posing and then trying to use Photoshop to put you in. And I thought that was the fun part. It's not as stage photography is great. There's a place for the more collage-y work that people do. But I think for what you were doing, in motion, the action, I mean, not only did you capture a great photo, we can see what it is, but I just liked that it was organic. There wasn't something that you had to go in and add. Maybe you're playing with light in the final editing process, but for the most part, what you see is what you get. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really in tune, especially to the point of your series and what you're trying to convey to others. And like, this is sort of real time. I really enjoyed I enjoyed these photos very much in general.
And the whole series is on Artsy as well. Mm-hmm. So you can check it out on Artsy.
It's also on the Dab Art website. I've got them all on there. So you're in two places.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I can, if you want, you can, Michael, if you want, you can go share the screen and throw it on there if you want. But they're all their features and everything is done and ready to go.
Awesome. I will go on to the Artsy site here. Oh my gosh, this happens to me every time. We'll start at the Art in the Time of Corona and work our way backwards. A very eclectic show. Yes, and technically these open tomorrow, so they're sitting under the to be, but here's the entire series. Yeah, I mean, I really responded to the playfulness of all the images. I mean, it just really, I don't know, I just felt very like youthful and unforgiving, you know?
Well, I know that you and I sometimes talk about nudes and how they're portrayed. And just because it may be LGBT focused or a queer based show, like we don't need to see naked people all the time. There's a way to do it that is, it doesn't feel as though it's the focal point, even though it might be. I'm not sure how to, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
I enjoyed looking at these. Yeah, there's a balance. There's a balance. I enjoyed looking at these. My first thought was not any body positiveness. My first thought was, this is a person with a sense of humor and I'm enjoying it, and these are fun to look at. And I thought that that was really that. And then you put them all together, in a nice little feature. Like I thought it was wonderful. It was just a really nice show to see. And then it's called Frolicking. That's funny. It's fun. I like that.
Yeah, and I should be clear with that. It's not about like an aversion to nudity, clearly.
No, that's what I'm saying. We talk about that all the time.
Well, it's I was in art school in the late 80s, early 90s, and identity politics for the queer culture. I was a part of ACT UP, and and the nudity was used as a political statement, and and then we had like Mapplethorpe and all these various things that were happening at the time, and I just feel like that is it's a very retro view of our community. And we have the internet now. So if I want to see nude photos, I don't have to go very deep in, right? I mean, I can go one click and find, whatever in the world. And so I'm looking for intelligent conversation about it.
Yeah.
It should have significance and meaning and, a reasoning, not just pornographic or I don't mind erotic work so much, but again, it still, for me, it still requires a nuance. It requires some intelligence, and a lot of people use it as an easy avenue. It's like artists on Instagram who have a hideous painting and they're naked in front of it and they sell like 5,000 copies of it. It's like, yeah, okay, we get it. Sex sells, get it, right?
Well, and for me, like, even in my bearish life, I try and scale back from a lot of the overtly hypersexual. I mean, granted, it's kind of interesting because in my opinion, I scale back, I should say, but it's kind of interesting when you have the opposite spectrum who don't think anything sexual at all, and then kind of look at my work, they're like, this is hypersexual. But I think in general, queer art has to have a little bit more nuance to it now, because the reality is like, we're also not just sexual beings. We are also other things. Like, in this, despite the fact that I may be a hypersexual person, I also love to frolic. So I love that.
Yes, and I think also the community is different. It's broader. It's the reason I use the word queer is because it's inclusive. Whereas I've always felt like gay, lesbian, LGBTQ plus IA plus like all that, it continues to eliminate people from the conversation. And I think that I feel as though we're all human beings and we need to have one conversation and just stop with the like trying to separate ourselves from each other. I know it's important to have identity and to claim space, but I also feel like we have to diversify the conversation, and we need to show different stories within the community. So, but others may disagree with me, of course. Even in our residency, it's straight, it's gay, it's trans, it's non-binary. It's a mix of people, and we all just agree to be who we are, and not edit ourselves for the mercy or safety of other people. We just be who we are. So, and I think that's a really necessary thing in the world we live in. So, I am super grateful for all of you coming tonight. Please keep in mind that you can see this, reference it later on our YouTube channel. It will be within the show that is listed on our PRPG.mx, which is a website. The .mx can be kind of confusing, but it is a website. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow Dab Art, H Gallery, and all the many projects that Jessica works on. And again, thank you all for coming tonight. And I'll be reaching out to several different people to expand the conversation. So thank you very much. Everybody have a wonderful night.